Hello, welcome back to the Pregame Network podcast. This is episode 11 with your gracious hosts, Dan and Anthony.
Hmm.
Joe will probably stop by a little bit later, but just
Hopefully.
got us for now.
Yeah.
Um, there's been a kind of a crazy week for me as far as like my personal life goes. So I don't really have too many news things to talk about. So I'm going to
Okay.
defer to you on this one. I know you probably have stuff and things to talk about.
Hmm.
Um, as far as the, you know, oh, what have you been playing? What have you been playing? Oh, I don't know. Well, uh, I am gonna go ahead and assume that you know what I have been playing. So, or what I have not been playing, I guess.
Yeah. Your massive
The
love
final
hate
server.
relationship. Yeah. So tell
I
me a little
wouldn't
bit
even
more
call
about
it a
that because
love hate.
I've heard of some nightmare stories that made it the most Destiny launch to ever Destiny launch. If you want to fill me in on that.
So from my experience, what did I do on Tuesday? I had a whole series of appointments to go to. I got back home long after reset, knowing full well that like the servers were going to be borked for like at minimum a couple hours after the official after reset time. So I got home. I I fired up my computer, I launched it, and I immediately got put into a queue, which I was expecting, mind you. Like every Destiny expansion release, this happens. I was immediately put into a queue. Now, I was a little bit more concerned when, like, 6 hours later, after I got home, like, this is not even 6 hours after reset, this was like 8 hours after reset or even longer than that.
Hmm.
I was still getting not only queue getting put in a queue, but like I would load in. I played like the first mission, chronic connecting to Destiny 2 servers, error banner flashing across my screen. I got booted countless times. I kept on getting error messages, and I wasn't the only one. Like the servers were just on fucking fire for a solid 24 hours or no, that's an exaggeration, a solid 12 hours at least. And
Hmm.
then people got in, but then the campaign kept on getting errored out. So like you can jump into a strike or crucible or load into the tower or something, but you couldn't play the fucking campaign,
It
which
was
sucked.
it was primarily campaign missions were giving you the issue.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
The Pale Heart, which is the new destination, I didn't even beat it yet. But the Pale Heart, which is the new destination, like I would try to load into that. I would enter the loading screen, which is like your ship, entering low orbit or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then I would just get booted. So that was a very disappointing experience to be sure. Now, that is the majority of the negative stuff. I really can't like overstate how disappointing that was. Just my
Yeah.
relationship with this game.
Oh, of
I've been
course.
playing Destiny since the D1 beta. I've been actively following the story for the past 9 years. Like I need to know how this shit ends.
Hmm.
Um, Now I still don't. I didn't. Like I just said, I didn't beat it yet.
Hmm.
But I can say the first handful of missions are looking very promising. Like it's a
Okay.
much more personal story to all of the major characters that, as a Destiny fan, I've come to know and like over the last decade. Um, the voice acting is fucking top notch. I really do want to point out the Keith David replacement to Lance Reddick's Zavala could not have been a more perfect casting choice. He's
Okay.
fucking phenomenal as Zavala. And you have more than enough experience with Keith David in from Mass Effect as
Hmm.
Admiral
Hmm.
Anderson. Um, but he delivers every line as Zavala like perfectly. He so far honestly like him voicing Zavala is probably my favorite thing that I've gotten up to,
Yeah.
next to Cade's uh, like resurrection, I guess you would call
Hmm.
it. Um, but Nathan Fillion is great as Cade again. Uh, but he's like much like how his character was like the Chris Pratt of the Destiny
Yeah.
universe,
I
like
gathered that much.
yeah, like wisecracking, always quick with a joke.
I've seen.
Blah blah.
I've played my own share. I've seen all the advertisements where they used him. I kind of got. I know what he's all about. That much.
Yeah, he's way more serious in this campaign, which is actually a really cool side to see of Cade. Now he still cracks jokes and everything,
Yeah.
but it's really interesting to see a much more serious side of Cade.
Now, I don't want to go too nuts into that, but I just want to clarify because this is what I heard. My understanding is part of the reason he's so serious was his view on him potentially returning at all. Is that correct? Like
Yes,
he's not
yeah.
keen on like resurrections and shit like that,
Oh,
right?
in a sense, like there's
Okay.
more to it than that, but in a sense, yeah. Like if you're gonna take a broad stroke to it, then yes, I would say that's correct. But there's definitely more to it than that. Like as a Destiny fan, like it's more nuanced. But from I don't know what you've read into, what you've heard, whatever. But like that is
That's the gist
overall
of it for what
accurate.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So I haven't really gotten into like the chops of the story yet.
Okay.
I'm kind of in like the setup phase right now. And the hours that I play or I've been playing, there's really nobody on, so I haven't been able to pair up with somebody because I'm
Yeah.
doing the legendary version of the campaign. So I'm just kind of getting my ass beat. But it's a war of attrition. I'm slowly and steadily making my way through the campaign. It is really good. All the additions they've made, really good stuff. The new subclass is a lot of fun. But I really like. I can't overstate how good the voice acting is.
Okay.
There's like little bits here and there. Like you know who the witness is?
Yes.
Okay, so like there's little bits here and there where like the witness talks to you through your ghost, and you like you're in the traveler, but you're also on comms with everyone outside the traveler also, and like the Queen Mara, who's like a big player in the story, she tries to like do like some awoken magic to help you in the first mission, and the witness chimes in, and like the way that she freaks out, it's like 2 sentences, but like I thought it was awesome. It was just really cool the way that the voice lines are delivered. I'm just if the story is more of that stuff, of that caliber of acting and storytelling, then I think I'm in for a really good time. But I really want to beat it, obviously. But so far, so good. That's my overall impression.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. I had further questions, but considering you haven't really gotten that far in, I don't want to go too nuts and accidentally spoil something for you. So I'm not going to ask too much about that.
So I'm assuming you kind of read everything that happens. As
No,
a non-Destiny fan.
I didn't read like the entire story or anything like that, but there were a few small things I wanted to confirm that had to do with what you unlock, what you don't, how like certain story beats go, but like you're not there yet, and I'm not gonna say like,
Yeah,
did you hear about this and spoil? So that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you definitely don't do that.
Yeah, the one thing I want to just ask, just because I heard it and I didn't confirm it, and if anybody I know knows, it's probably gonna be you. Is it true that when the servers were shitting themselves, they were like the forums were basically locked in certain areas so that nobody could really say anything?
I don't know. Maybe Luke knows. I don't know if he's more into the community than I am.
Yeah, I'd have to ask him.
But yeah, I can't confirm that for you. I wouldn't be shocked, but at the same time, like I think they'd have bigger problems going on than to shut down some forums.
Okay.
So, yeah. So what have you been playing?
I honestly, I don't know what it is. I basically put down all single player experience. I've been doing nothing but Street Fighter. I don't know, like I hit
Wow.
something.
Right.
Like
yeah, I've
you know
seen
how
your streams going up.
Yeah, so I don't know if obviously this applies to just about anything you do in life, like where it's just like whether it's something small like a hobby or something big like a trade, where like you do something for a while and then something clicks and you just get better at it. Like I plateaued for a while. I think honestly in like the last week, for whatever reason, that's kind of happened to me with Street Fighter, where like I have a better grasp of the game than I did before. Like I was already playing at like Diamond and Master level, just that's like the higher end.
What's the highest ranking?
When you're in Master, there's like its own league, and then from Master you can go to Legend. I don't think I'm ever gonna hit Legend. There's like only like 100 of those. But like, I only had one character in Master. I now have a second character close to Master, and with another character I've gotten to Diamond, and I don't know what it is. It's just in general I feel like I've improved. So there's that. But the main thing is I've just been playing them nonstop. I don't know what bug hit me. Like normally I play a shit ton with Harrison. Like we'll play for like an hour to 3 at a time. But like now it's like that's the game when I'm editing. I turn to my right, I play a couple matches, then I go back to editing, that's all I've been playing.
Oh, I forgot to mention Diablo 4. I've been putting a lot of time into Diablo as well.
I have that downloaded to try it. Like I said, I'm not super optimistic, but it's free. We can play it, we can try it, and we could have a little bit of a good time.
It's fun, like I like I've said before, you have super high standards, which is probably a good and a bad thing at times. But I'm really enjoying it. But like I just came from playing Last Epoch, and the skill system in Diablo 4 is so watered down. Compared to Last Epoch,
it's nuts to me that you when I hear something like that, because it's like you guys like to rag on me a little bit for my my scrutiny for the series and where it's gone, which is it's its own thing and whatever. But like when I hear you say to me like, oh, I was playing a more technically complicated game, and then I went to Diablo 4, which was watered down for me, and I'm just like, wow, I can tell.
I understand like your mentality there. However, Last Epoch is not a fucking mainstream game. Neither is Path of Exile. Diablo is a very, very mainstream like game as far as the gaming realm goes.
But it was always that way.
They try to
too.
appeal. Yeah. But they try to appeal to. I'm not trying to defend it. This is how I perceive the differences between these two isometric action RPGs. Like I think they're very similar, but they are catering to two very different audiences.
Yeah, I know. I understand. You're correct in that assumption. I'm just saying it never needed to go there. That's all. That's all I'm getting.
Right.
At.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like you could like if you wanted to make that argument where it's just like the series has got to reach a wider audience. I think in most cases wider and modern audiences are like crap and basically it's not. But all I'm getting at with this is like it didn't need to. If you really wanted to, there is Diablo Immortal, right? It's like that could have been like the thing that you say, oh come on, but like you had one guy spend like $10,000 on gems. Like if you got to make your money, milk people on the mobile front with like something like an Immortal and just make traditional experiences.
But unfortunately that business model works on both sides of the fence, which is that's a whole conversation unto itself.
That's a whole.
I will say I like the art direction of Diablo 4 a lot more than Last Epoch and even Path of Exile. It appeals to me more. I think that there's something to be said for that.
Like what the one thing I will say about that particular aspect of Diablo is that obviously there's a pretty clear distinction when you go from Diablo 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. I don't rag on it too much. I think in that regard it's remained pretty consistent. Consistent as in like I trust those changes were made in kind of like just a artistic good faith, I guess you could say. So I don't rag on it.
Diablo 3 was very it was much tamer, I guess. It wasn't as gothic-y.
Yeah.
But the whole like hellscape way that they've gone with Diablo 4 is way cooler than 3 was. And it's cooler in my opinion than Last Epoch or Path of Exile. Although I will say, I guess this could be like the first transition to a news story thing. But when Grinding Gear Games put out their Path of Exile 2 console trailer, it looks great. Like it looks really, really good. But I could also definitely tell on a dime what's Path of Exile and what is Diablo, even though like to the untrained eye they would look almost identical.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's cool too.
We got a few good times, but we're pretty locked into things that we've been doing already.
Yeah.
I'm sure next time we talk, you're gonna have logged quite a few hours into the final shape, and you'll have.
I'm still probably gonna play a couple hours a night, but it's not gonna be like it was where I'm on for like a solid 6 hours.
Yeah, but you'll have more time. Is what I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
getting.
true.
You'll have more time into it. I'm looking like I think Xbox is going to come out swinging with Game Pass offerings this month.
They fucking have to.
That's a whole other conversation when we're talking about the thing. I'm just talking like Game Pass offerings this month. Like I think they shadow dropped both Octopath Traveler games and the Callisto Protocol today.
Yes,
I'm interested in playing all three of those. I already played Octopath Traveler 1. I haven't played the sequel yet, and I've been wanting to try the Callisto Protocol, even though I've heard it's not that great. It's not. Yeah. Well, my understanding is I've heard two major things about it. I don't want to go too nuts here, but what I've heard is people were not expecting like the combat focuses it had. Like, I think it's very melee focused, my understanding is. And a lot of people were kind of put off by some of the things it did. So, like, people were expecting something a lot closer to Dead Space, but it's more of like a spiritual, like, successor or sidestep than, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like, the same way I think people who wanted, like, a System Shock 3 were somewhat disappointed by Bioshock, despite them both being good games. So, we'll see what happens. I think since it's going to be a bit shorter, I'll probably just, you know, try it first before trying the Octopath Traveler games. So
apparently it was really short. It was
that's what I'm saying.
12 hours or like less.
Listen, survival horror games of all flavors, be it true survival horror or action survival horror, those games are traditionally very short. Like the first three Resident Evils can be beaten in under 2 hours. Resident Evil 4, if you cut out all the cutscenes and you just speed through it, it can be beaten in under 6 hours, I think. I forget exactly what the speed runs are. I've beaten the first Silent Hill in 48 minutes. Like you can beat some of these games very, very quickly. Or if not 48 minutes, something very close to it. I think 48 minutes close to like world record, so I might be mixing my numbers up. It was under an hour. That much I remember. And I've beaten Resident Evil Remake. I've beaten in like an hour 40. And there's rewards for doing that too. Like they're intended to, like, you can sit down and put a lot of hours into them, but they're relatively short and content light. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. So what do you want to talk about this week? Because I don't really have too much.
That's fine. I do kind of want to get like a small topic out of the way, just because it's a lot. There's a lot of rumors and shit going around about it, and I kind of wanted your perspective because it's something I don't think you've really been into for a while, and given like your new interesting PC gaming and gaming laptops and stuff like that, I think you might be an interesting perspective. And it's basically, I heard like back to back 2 rumors of handheld consoles, one from Sony and one from Microsoft. And I heard those, and it's like that's the kind of shit you hear all the time, right? It's like, oh, they're gonna do another PlayStation Portable, or oh, Xbox is gonna finally put their stuff out there, and you know they're gonna finally.
Those rumors have been floating around for like decades.
Exactly, but apparently they're more substantial than before. Even if it doesn't happen, which, you know, who knows? I mean, Xbox has, you know, who knows what they've got in their big shit coming up, but like maybe, you know, this is the time where they finally say that and show this kind of potential mobile console. I guess what I'm getting at here is I look at their last offerings and the last thing they tried, and one of the things that both of them really dipped their toes into was cloud computing. And
that's still like a big part of Game Pass, isn't it? Like the Xbox Play Anywhere.
I know, but that's like more like, but like that is a big part of Game Pass with the xCloud, but that's something that Microsoft's always playing around with cloud computing. That's just, they make a shit ton on the back end with Azure and all of that shit. Like that's something that
companies that use it.
Yeah, they always have their hands in cloud computing, so it's easier for them to just have something like an xCloud just slapped onto Game Pass, where they can try that kind of stuff. Nintendo, since they've always had like a lower powered console with the Switch, a lot of Capcom offerings, a lot of Square Enix offerings have cloud editions where they run better or require a wireless connection, you know, to run, right? Where you need to be connected to the cloud. I'll be honest, I'm not super keen on cloud computing as like the way to play a video game. Like, you can do some neat features, but it's like if either of these companies come to the mobile market, it needs to be hardware in hand. And I think that they're a bit more emboldened to do so because of the Switch and its successes over the last 6 years.
I
So,
don't even think that. I think it's like so the point you have about the Switch is definitely valid, but I think
mhm.
things like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, and
Oh, that
I
too,
think
yeah.
Logitech has one too.
Yeah.
Especially in the past like year or two, those things have blown up,
Yeah.
and obviously in 2024, the age of the internet and video games, everything moves super fast, as far
Mhm.
as products go and software and everything. I think it's probably a much bigger deal to a company like Microsoft, even Sony. They put out their PlayStation Portal thing, which is, in my opinion, kind of dumb. Like, I don't know who it's for. It's just basically a PS5 controller cut in half with a
Yeah.
screen in the middle, and like it's just there to stream things.
Yeah.
But it's basically only good like if you have a reliable high-speed internet connection, and that's not even taking into account like the input latency that you have with it, which
Mhm.
annoys the shit out of me as an individual, as a gamer, as an individual. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that Steam probably executed on it the best so far as like a handheld thing goes.
Mhm.
But for someone like me to invest the money in a piece of hardware that is going to be outdated in basically a year, it's got to be really really good, really reliable.
Yeah.
The games that I play, 9 times out of 10, they require an internet connection, so it's not like I could take it with me, virtually wherever I go, which would entail like spending a monthly subscription on like a 5G connection, which isn't even great to begin with, like just on my
Mhm.
phone. Um, it's not there for me yet. I think that companies like Sony and Microsoft and maybe Nintendo, but I don't think that's really what their focus is.
Yeah, I think you do have a very good point. That's something that I'm aware of, obviously, but it's not at the forefront of my mind. Is things like the Steam Deck and those kind of like modular handheld computers where
Yeah,
there's
well, that's
multiple different.
essentially what they
Yeah,
are. Then, like,
yeah,
what
no,
can we do to put a PC in somebody's hand
yes,
that is going to be able to run these games? And,
hmm
credit where credit is due. Steam kind of pulled off a miracle with the Steam Deck,
yeah,
or I guess Valve pulled off a miracle with the Steam Deck with being able to run some of the games that it can at like decent settings that you can still get an okay experience out of.
yes,
It's really impressive. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to spend as effectively $600 on that when I
yeah,
have like a very good computer at home. I have my
uh-huh.
Xbox. I'll eventually get a PlayStation when the opportunity arises. I, that's for a very specific type of
Yeah,
gamer. That's not for everybody.
yeah,
And I wouldn't even choose those those pieces of hardware over like watching a movie on my phone if I
hmm
wanted to just be entertained for like 20 or 30 minutes, if I was out somewhere, going somewhere, whatever.
hmm
It's not even an option for me. Like, what am I gonna? I can't play Destiny on that thing. I can't play like any shooter. I'm not gonna be able to play it on those things.
yeah,
Even something like Diablo, which now requires an internet connection. Like, it's just not everything requires a fucking internet connection, which
hmm
is fine. Those are just the games that I'm into. Um,
so you listed off pretty much what I thought you were going to list off, and that makes a lot of sense. And basically, the thing I think of, and you brought it up, Valve and the Steam Deck, and they had a lot of leverage with that because they basically own the PC marketplace, or they at the very
yeah.
least have like a very strong position in it. So they have the opportunity to install into their storefront like verified for Steam Deck, and I think that was a very big like thing for them pushing this new idea. Um,
hmm
I think that, let's say Microsoft and Sony wanted to be serious about like a mobile console, right? They technically would have more leverage than Valve does with the Steam Deck, technically, because
Also,
so that's the best way to put this because I'm not extremely well read on it, but it's So we've talked in the past about how consoles should typically fight for your attention, right?
Mm.
And basically how developers make these games for these consoles is there's always a lot of talk about the hardware, the potential hardware. Even before the console's out, you're always talking about it's got to run at certain specifications, it's got to run at certain things. So, and this is a little hard to talk about because the same thing we've talked about is Microsoft and Sony aren't necessarily in the best place as like first party output. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it like in theory, when you have these guys at the top of their game at from the top down controlling like the standards for all this hardware, in theory, they have more sway over the development of these games to make sure they run adequately on this hardware or make sure there's patches in place. Like the same stability and the same reason that I've described people buy consoles where it's like they want no fuss. They want to buy the console, they want to put it down, and they want it to work when you put a game in, right? If you bring that to a mobile platform, that's kind of their edge. Not over, but alongside like the Steam Deck. So
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I don't think that they have the games to support that kind of.
That's why I'm like struggling a little bit to describe this because it's just like these guys struggle to make games in general. How are they going to leverage their sway, so to speak, in a space that requires like strong, consistent output? That's why everybody bitches about like the Switch and its technical hardware. They have such a firm grasp on their first party for obvious reasons that it didn't matter. You put out the Switch, the first party games ran phenomenally. They utilized style over raw graphics, and like even though third parties struggle to put their stuff out there sometimes, Nintendo just game after game after game managed to put out games that just look and play great on their console because that's how that should work. Like that kind of system is what they need to bring to these other consoles. I think the only time they really missed Nintendo was, oddly enough, they recently remade a Paper Mario game, and there's a lot of issues with that, but one of the weirdest ones is on the GameCube it ran at 60 frames, on the Switch it runs at 30. I have no idea how the hell that happens, but that's like the only major miss I can think of. Outside of like a few like smaller performance things. But basically, I wanted to touch on this because it is a market that I like. I don't know. It's kind of weird. You got to kind of view it differently because handheld and mobile and all that kind of stuff is way different than it used to be. Like I look at how many years ago where it's like you had like the Vita was still trying and you had the 3DS and whatnot out there, and it's like they were making good games. I was happy with my Vita even though like the service kind of petered out at a certain point. They had some.
I enjoyed my Vita.
Yeah, I thought it was a neat little console. It got some really nice exclusives, some of which took years to get ported to other platforms. You had support from Atlas and Ubisoft and Sony's first party studios were still there. It had great ports, like it had native ports of big fighting games at the time, like Street Fighter Cross Tekken and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, just native ports on there. Massive RPGs like Persona 4 Golden, which was exclusive until like last year, 2 years ago.
Wow.
So it's like when you have the software, you can move the hardware. But to kind of finalize this, because like I said, a lot of it is what ifs. If we take a look at what's rumored, this potential third PlayStation portable console allegedly will run like the entire library of PlayStation 4 titles and have access to certain PlayStation 5 titles. Now, obviously, this is all rumors, but the biggest thing is like it would be local play, which it's whether you think it's a rumor or a pipe dream, that's the kind of offering you would need for them to like kind of come back in there. Personally, I think that
like local play as in it's running locally on the hardware.
Exactly, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then with Xbox, I forget exactly what they had working on there, but I think they used the Steam Deck as a template. Like they wanted to use Steam OS and Windows and they wanted it
That
to
wouldn't
like,
shock me.
yeah, and they wanted it to be native. I don't know. Like I said, it's all rumors, but I mainly wanted to talk about like a potential mobile market, and I don't see
Well, the
that
mobile
it's
market is
there.
kind of it's a different mobile market than the one that's currently, the gargantuan money making machine that cell phones are right now.
Yeah,
um it's a different
it's
thing, and I don't think that, like, you hear about Sony and Microsoft. They make these consoles that cost like 500 a piece. They cost more to build than they retail for, so they're losing money on every console that they produce and sell, and they make all the money back on the software. Now, I would have thought that Sony was doing fine with their games, but it's I don't think they're doing as well as they make it out to be. Microsoft obviously is just abysmal right now.
yeah.
So
I think you said you don't know how they're doing. Sony made an announcement where they said this is their most profitable console generation, and there's got to be some tomfoolery in those
no,
numbers because
I
I
no
just don't see
doubt,
it.
highly
Yeah,
doubt that.
I don't know.
PS4 maybe.
Maybe the wordplay there is like, oh, it's our most profitable console generation, but it's because they're still moving PlayStation 4s or something. I don't see how that's possible. The output just isn't
Yeah.
there. More people than ever are going back to older games. Like I don't that makes no sense to me. And
Yeah.
maybe I'll do more
and
research into that and we'll talk about it next time, but that makes absolutely no fucking sense to me.
and Microsoft is fucking lucky to still be making video games right now.
Yeah, I think they obviously they had the leverage of being part of Microsoft, Xbox being
Oh,
part of Microsoft.
100%. If they didn't have a $3 trillion company backing them, any fucking businessman with like half a brain probably would have shut Xbox's doors by now.
Yeah, and I think that knock is coming, not in the way that you think where they're going to shut it down, but I think we're
No, I
if
don't think
we're
it's gonna shut down.
if we see a lot of those like also coming to PlayStation or also, if
That would be
more
pretty
exclusives
nuts.
go, but what I'm saying is that happening would be a result of that knock coming, not like shut the
Mm,
doors, but more you need to start like pushing. We need more profits, and like that coincides with a rumor that I heard that Combat Evolved is getting another remaster and it's coming to PlayStation 5. That would be insane. Halo
that
Combat
would be
Evolved.
fucking crazy. What?
And it's
Oh god.
the reason it doesn't make sense to me. We're going off on a tangent here, so we'll wrap it up soon. But basically, why that would be nuts to me is I feel like there's so much animosity between Sony fans and Microsoft fans, like the diehard ones, that like who would
That
even be
shit's stupid
interested?
now.
Who would even be interested realistically in a 20-year-old Halo game coming to the PlayStation?
Yeah.
Who? Like
Yeah.
we know one person, I'm not going to throw her under the bus or anything, who basically said no matter what, she's not playing Halo. Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of base that will sit around and own a PlayStation to play the occasional exclusive, as it is right now at the PlayStation 5, is the same kind of base that wouldn't give a shit about Halo. Not saying it's set in stone. Maybe you could move some units. Who knows? But like, I just feel like it's not like that's just a move that's like not worth making. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that would also be a move of sheer desperation also on Microsoft's part, because for them to open the doors like that and start putting their games, it defeats the purpose of an Xbox. What, are you gonna start
Yeah.
picking and choosing the exclusives? I guess, well, I guess both Sony and Microsoft do that now. Like Sony bought Bungie for $3 billion or whatever it was, and if they took Destiny off of off of Xbox, they'd have a fucking mutiny on their hands. They would have a mutiny, like,
Yeah.
but these
But
companies do that.
Yeah, that's something we've talked about ad nauseum about like the potential of more Xbox stuff coming to Sony, and I guess we'll have our answer, or we'll have a good deal of answers next time we talk, because like afterwards, and this is kind of what I want to move into. So if you want to start talking about this, but like after the next time we talk, it'll be after most of the summer games fest stuff, the no longer E3, Everyone's gonna have
Yeah.
this stuff. So I guess we could move directly onto that
Which
because
is kind of odd. Can we talk about that for a second? The fact that E3 fucking evaporated before our eyes, like not even quickly. It was a
yeah,
slow and painful death.
yeah. It was a
Like,
mixture of a hurt industry, bad management decisions, and then COVID just kind of like kicked its ass.
yeah, and I don't know about you. If anybody who says they didn't like act, any person who's into video games who says that they didn't actively look forward to E3 rolling around year after year is full of shit.
I'll
I
put it. I'll
really
put
loved
it.
that season.
So two things. First, on a personal level, like when E3 rolled around, I would try to at least for one of the days of E3, like reach out to somebody, be it you or Joe, and like go out that day and like do something
Yeah.
and like have the announcements up because
Yeah,
like
like
that's
it's like the
that's
Super Bowl of video games.
yeah, it's when people were coming out and hitting hard, and I mean the last couple of years were disappointing, but my second point, what I was going to is before we talk about Summer Games Fest, we'll talk about E3 for a second. Is E3 going the way that it did is a sign of multiple issues with the gaming industry. Mainly all the issues we've talked about ad nauseum that we will continue to talk about ad nauseum. Games being made for people who don't like the medium or don't take the medium seriously. Corporate overreach, talent bleed, lack of games. An unhealthy industry is how you end up with E3, a traditional, like, decades long event coming to a close in the way that it did. Like, people will probably look at it and say, like, oh, it was time. People don't like the big events anymore, and the world was
No,
going
that's
through,
bullshit.
a pandemic. It's bullshit. Healthy
Yeah.
industry. I wouldn't be surprised if when we see that, and I always say it's coming, when we see whatever's past this dark cultural shit we're dealing with, I would not be surprised if somebody steps up and brings back E3 in some way, shape, or form. You already kind of see that with the Summer Games Fest. Like, the need for that industry coming together and, like, everybody, like, coming out swinging is always going to be there as long as there's an industry, regardless of how shitty it is. So I think that one day we will see a return to like one collective event that goes on for like 3 major days with a bookend on either side. But
Yeah, I hope so. I really do.
I hope so. Like I said,
You know?
I love this medium. I want the industry to do well. It's just, we always say it. It's the way it is. But anything else you want to say about E3?
I want it back, and the only thing that fills that void right now is Summer Games Fest, I guess.
Summer Games Fest, the naughty
Jeff
3.
Keighley fucking trailer fest.
Yeah, pretty much. He did like a little interview or an interview circuit where he talked about things that weren't going to be there. Did you catch wind of that or anything, or no?
No, I have no idea.
Let me see if I can just bring that up real quick.
But he had like a list of stuff that.
Well, he was.
Don't get excited about this. It's not coming.
He was being interviewed, and people were obviously asking him about what to expect. Because I think his takeaway was like, I forget exactly how he worded it. He said something like, that it's going to be light on new things. It's mainly going to be existing things, and it's like if last year was like a 10, this year's like an 8.
Okay.
Let's see. What not to expect? No Grand Theft Auto 6, no Kingdom Hearts 4, no The Wolf Among Us 2, no Def Jam anything, no Metal Gear Solid Delta, no Judas, which is that BioShock looking game from Ken Levine, who did BioShock, no Beyond Good and Evil 2, no Five Nights at Freddy's, no Hollow Knight Silksong, which is a huge like indie thing that's, I feel like it's been in development hell. I've been hearing about this for like 3 years, I feel like. No Nintendo games. They're probably going to do their own thing. If anything, there's no one more thing. Like, there's no surprise announcements near the end. And there's no musical acts, which is just, that's good. None of that shit, please. Every single event from the Game Awards to E3, they all were obsessed with, like, it's one thing if you want to entertain the people there. Don't stream it to me. I don't give a shit. So yeah, those are some things not to expect. Now, have you heard anything personally, any mumblings, any rumors that you're interested in coming down, or is anything you're on the lookout for?
If anything, it's probably Space Marine 2. I don't know. I don't even know if that's going to be at Summer Games Fest. It'd be cool since it comes out in September. But like, there isn't a huge list of games that I'm really looking forward to, kind of in a
Mhm.
lull in that regard.
Yeah.
So Space Marine 2 would be cool. I would like to see like more actual gameplay instead of like a 2.5 minute trailer. Uh, but yeah, not really. God, I'm so vapid on right now. Like I just meh, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I get you. It's fine.
Beyond that,
I'll be honest. I don't blame you for that. And in the position that we're in with the industry, I think it's better to go in with like next to no expectations so that you can go
yeah,
like, that's
unfortunately,
a pleasant surprise.
yeah.
I'll occasionally just be like, oh, it's on, and I'll watch it and I'll have it on and I'll be like, crap. Ooh, that looks kind of crap. And then that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of glad that we're not like day by day, hour by hour reporters, because we'd probably be like fucking miserable with the way things are. But yeah, how long is this going on for? Like 4 days, something like that. Sporadic streams
Sounds
across
great.
4 days. I will
That's
say,
not including when is Sony doing their thing? Because Xbox is going to be on the 9th.
Sony just did their state of play. We talked about it. Unless they have something else planned, I doubt
But
it.
that's not like their new and upcoming showcase,
What
right?
the hell are they going to show? The state of play
No,
is their
well,
thing.
I'm saying state of play was like, here's what's going on, right? You said this last week. Like
Yeah,
state of play is
exactly.
everything going on right now.
I have no idea if they have anything else planned for
Oh,
the.
okay.
I assumed that was it. They're done. I think Xbox is just being a little more friendly and actually playing ball by doing their thing during the Games Fest. You know,
Hmm.
I'll be honest, and we can talk about Xbox one last time before like the main event, which is coming up. But the only thing I will say, and I was like, I'm conflicted about this because I have my eye out for Capcom. And I know I already mentioned them entering a dark age when I had that whole localization rant, and I still believe that's true. It's not going to stop me from watching and going, wow, followed by, how could you do this? Or, wow, if only you didn't ruin this. And the reason I say this is because Capcom is apparently going to be like one of the biggest like presences at this thing. Like they're sending out they're sending out teasers to influencers and shit like that.
Hmm.
So and they said they had multiple announcements, so I'm kind of excited for that, kind of not. I'm expecting at least one like low budget like back catalog IP thing from them. Like they're gonna reach into their stuff, like maybe a Rival Schools or Power Stone or a Final
I
Fight
don't know
or
any of
something.
these.
They're all like arcade classics and also their 90s stint. And the only reason I bring them
Oh,
up is because there's been rumors about some of these for a while, and one of the developers, Itsuno, the guy who did Devil May Cry 5, when he did Devil May Cry 5, he said there were two other projects that he really wanted to do. One was Dragon's Dogma 2, and one was
okay.
a remake of or a sequel to Rival Schools, which is a fighting game from Capcom. It was either that or Power Stone, which is like an arena fighter from Capcom. And so I'm hoping maybe we see that there. Maybe we'll finally see some more about Pragmata. I have a feeling they're going to show the next year of content for Street Fighter 6, which they said they're going to announce all at once, so there's no like teasers or anything like that. And they've been teasing that, and assets for the year 2 of content have been added to the game. So maybe
Mhm.
if Capcom comes and goes from this event and doesn't show like the next DLC characters for Street Fighter 6, I will be fucking stunned. That's basically what I'm getting at. It's just
Okay.
a matter of what else they're going to show. They already showed Monster Hunter at the State of Play. That's one of their big 3 that they focus on. Maybe we'll see another Resident Evil or something. Resident Evil 9's been in development for a long fucking time. There's multiple small Resident Evil projects that were leaked a while ago that we haven't heard. So, as a Capcom fan who is kind of bracing for Impact, where they dip into that dark age, I still want to see what they have to offer before they completely screw me over. So that's where I'm at.
Sorry about your troubles.
I know it's fine. We all got troubles in this fucking shit culture and whatnot, but so aside so I guess we'll see. I think for us it's mainly going to be if any pleasant surprises come our way
Mhm.
at the next couple of days. But One last time we should talk about is Xbox. Their big event is finally right around the corner.
Yeah, it's 3 days
And
away, or
yeah,
two,
and
really, at this point.
yeah, and just some of this we've talked about before, but there's a few things to recap. We're probably going to see more of their Indiana Jones game that they've
I
very.
don't have super high hopes for that, to
I
be
don't
honest with
either.
you.
I'm not. I didn't bring it up like oh hell yeah Indiana. I don't think I've seen the developers working on this. I've seen their preview. I'm not keen on it. I don't think it's going to be, but it will attract a certain crowd. Like that's a big IP for them to be handling, even though like many
Yeah.
other IPs, it's kind of on the outs, or not on the outs, but like on the downturn, kind of. But it's
hmm
still like it's not as tarnished as let's say a Star Wars.
It could be
So
like a
there's
first person Uncharted or Tomb Raider, but even so,
it didn't.
uh,
I remember that gameplay showing. I was just not impressed, but it could just be
yeah,
my indifference for the brand.
yeah, that's true.
Um,
Um, I think
aside,
that Xbox really needs to show something new. Like they
well,
need a
yeah.
new IP.
Well, we'll see what happens. There's also that Avowed game they're probably going to show. They're probably going to show State of Decay 3. Um, there's rumors there might be a Fallout 3 remaster in the works, which would, I'll be honest, that sounds like a safe play from the fact that Fallout's kind of getting all this traction from that god awful TV show. And Bethesda says they want to do more Fallout projects. Fallout 3 remaster is as safe as you can get with that. It is what a lot of people had as an entry to the Fallout universe. It's very rocky. It is the oldest Bethesda Fallout, so that would be them going to their Fallout roots, even though 1 and 2, that's a whole different conversation that they had nothing to do with. Also with Bethesda, there's rumors that we might see a Starfield expansion, which would, placate.
I could care less. I
I know
could
it's
not
not for
care
us.
less about.
I know it's not for us, but Starfield did a certain degree of numbers. It is still a Bethesda game that
Yeah,
people are
but
invested in.
it rode off of the coattails of the brand name.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way, like, and I think I've said this verbatim to you before. I might have even said it on the podcast. I'm not sure. People who wanted, if you like the Elder Scrolls, you like the Elder Scrolls. If you like Fallout, you like Fallout. If you like Bethesda, you like Bethesda. If you wanted
Yeah.
Fallout, Elder Scrolls in space, you got it. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my takeaway from it. I still haven't played it. I might try it at a certain point. It's just it looks like such a bland game for a Bethesda game. Like Elder Scrolls is pretty distinct. Fallout, even Bethesda Fallout has its own distinct identity. I got nothing from Starfield, but it is free, so maybe I'll try it at some point.
Yeah,
Other than that,
It wasn't for me. It was just way
yeah.
too slow. Not that it was slow. Like it was just. I was expecting something different than just Skyrim in space, and that's all it was.
I'll be completely honest. Like I've tried getting you both into both Elder Scrolls and the Bethesda Fallout games for a while. Like I feel like I've gotten you to try it. Like I'm not. This is not like go back and try it. Even though Elder Scrolls 4 is one of the best games ever made. But what I'm saying is like I'm not surprised that even though like space is more your jam, I would say. Like I'm not surprised it didn't hook you because it's still that pool of Bethesda games,
That game
That
design,
surprised me.
that Bethesda's game design was like outdated a decade ago, and it's just a new fucking coat of paint on the same formula, and I just don't
And
care.
that's why people love Bethesda, because of that feeling of like they scrape the paint away and they feel that that game underneath.
No, not for me.
That and the fact that they're heavily modded. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's rumors that we might see more of that Fable, which is just, I'll be honest, dead in the water for me. It looks like just a consulting company fucking churned out Hollywood focused track. Like Joe was talking about it one of the times we had him on, where it's just like it's got some celebrity right off the bat. Like who gives a shit about this? It's got like a woman that looks like a man. It's like it has none of the charm of the original Fable games. It hasn't shown us anything since its announcement, and every time the cinematics come out, it looks like it has less and less soul, so to speak. Like it looks for a first party Microsoft game that they've had under their in their house for a while under multiple different developers. It does not look like anything that it needs to be. But who knows? Maybe it'll show up during the event and just wow me. I doubt it. What else? Doom: The Dark Ages. We kind of touched on that once.
Okay,
New,
that's something that I would be looking forward to, and
yeah,
so
that
long as I see it. I loved
yeah.
Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal.
Yeah, I was more big on Doom 2016. Eternal wasn't bad. I like 2016 structure a bit more.
Hmm.
I will say that the Dark Ages is all but confirmed at this point. We just
Yeah.
need to see it. I have a feel like if there's anything on the list of rumors that we've heard so far, I think Doom: The Dark Ages is like a lock. I think we're gonna see that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Other than that, we talked a great deal about Call of Duty. They shadow dropped Black Ops 6, and it's got its own event afterwards. I'm still holding out for that announcement during the event. Call of Duty series coming to Game Pass.
Oh,
That's what I'm
please.
hoping for. Like, I'll go back and play some of
Please.
those games. You know, we've talked up and down about zombies. It would be a great ton of fun to have that available on Game Pass, and it would be a great
I've
one
had the zombies
for the
itch
Xbox.
for like over a week now, and
Yeah,
nothing is quite scratching it, to be honest with you.
yeah.
So
So
if we could play like World at War zombies,
that would
oh,
be that would be a hoot.
oh, oh my god.
Um, and then the last kind of this actually hold on before I get to the big one. I just want to say I'm ashamed of myself because I've
Go
overlooked
on.
this every time we've talked about Xbox. We still haven't seen Age of Mythology Retold.
Oh fuck, you're right.
The
The Age of
remaster.
Empires.
Yeah, I went a great deal talking to you and Eric about this to kind of get you hyped up for it, but it's basically it's from the Age of Empires guys. It's supposed to be kind of like a less serious, more bombastic with the powers and the building. You know, there's as the name is, it's Age of Mythology. So there's
Yeah.
units that feed into that. There's mythical creatures, there's god powers and all that. And when we were going through that Age of Empires kick, I was kind of working you guys up to that. I was like, I think we would get a big kick out of it because the pool of players is a little bit bigger. The structure is a little more open, so people who aren't
Yeah.
necessarily big into strategy games are going to enjoy it a little bit more. It's just a good game. So I think I would be. I wouldn't be devastated if we didn't see it, but I feel like it's cooked just the right amount of time since its announcement that it's time for it to pop up again. So I think it's possible we'll see that. If not, it'll be disappointing, but that's still coming down the pipe, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna. I think it's gonna hit in the fall, something like that. It's this year, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But the last major thing that people are talking about as a possibility is, and we've touched it before, is Gears 6 or a Gears of War 1 to 3 collection. And I think that is I mean, I want to say it's a great move, but it's kind of one of their only moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm coming from a place of bias because I've said to you how many times there's no good third-person shooters out there. I love the Gears for their third-person shooters. We played 5, we played a ton of Horde. I went back and I played through Gears of War 4 campaign. I touched on Gears 1 and 2 and 3. I had at a certain point I had them all on my console because even though I wouldn't say I love them to death from as a complete package, I appreciate what they offer. The gunplay, it is such a good third-person shooter. And in a time where there's no major Xbox titles, there's no major third-person shooters, and everybody's kind of like jonesing for both, now would be the time for a Gears 6 or a collection. I do think
Wow, since
that
Gears 5 too.
yeah, I do think that if it's not Gears 6, Gears 3 just remastering that would buy you so much leverage because that's such an amazing
Oh,
third-person
so
shooter.
good. Gears 3 was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. I know the Gears purists love 1, like that's where it's at. I think Gears 3 is like that evolution. There's a lot to say about Gears 2. I'm one of the few people that liked Gears 2 also. Even though like nobody hates Gears 2, it's just not 1 or 3. And I remember a lot of the diehard Gears people we knew were disappointed.
I loved Gears 1, and then Gears 3. The Gears 2 came out. It was like I enjoyed the story. I wasn't into the multiplayer, and then Gears 3 was fucking fantastic. I loved it.
Gears 1 is like it almost feels like a boomer shooter in some ways with the way the movement you can like bend and break the movement, and then Gears 2 curtailed a lot of that to like kind of rein it into the cover shooter that it's based on, and then Gears 3 was that sweet spot in the middle. And so basically I know we've talked about it at least once how they only remastered one, and at that time I thought that was fine, because I don't think they could handle at that point what they did for the Master Chief Collection, because the Master Chief Collection, as much as we enjoyed and the things that it offers, like, it took a while for it to get where it launched to the functional feature complete thing that it is now. I at that time I preferred just a singular experience for Gears 1, but a collection of the 3 or just a remaster of 3 would be phenomenal, if whether it's alongside or in lieu of a Gears 6. But Gears something they should have at this event, and I think I don't know if it's all wishful thinking, but there's been a lot of rumors going around, so I guess we'll see what happens there. But
yeah.
So, I mean, we talked about a lot of known quantities. I'm hoping it needs at least one surprise too, you know? Something like a Hi-Fi Rush, because I also heard a rumor, and it's a good thing I brought up Hi-Fi Rush, you know, rest in peace, is because I heard there's at least one shadow drop coming. Like, they're going to announce something and they're going to shadow drop it. So we'll see what it is. Well, they would be
fools to not have learned from that you know, event experience, you know, whatever.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see exactly what they offer. But that's kind of our last recap, unless there's something you want to add, because like we've already talked about all the different times. It's like Xbox comes up, oh, there's an event coming up. Xbox comes up, oh, there's an event coming up. Oh, there's all this different stuff. So
it's here.
Yeah, it's here. That's pretty much where we're at. They need to come out swinging. There's been a few things preemptively announced. Like I said, I'm hoping that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 middle of the week coming to Game Pass statement shows that they're confident in something that's gonna be at this event. Otherwise, that was just like, I don't know what you're doing. But I mean, either way, it's a win for Xbox. But ballsy maneuver to do that like a week or two before your main event. So
yeah,
we'll see what they have.
Yeah, we shall see. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else this week. It's been a crazy week for me.
That's fine.
Yeah,
it is what it is. The only other thing I have to talk about, I mean, there's been more industry layoffs.
Well, I feel like
surprising nobody
at this point.
Surprising absolutely goddamn no one. Like Avalanche Studios, I think they're out of North America completely with the studio closures that they did. Like, you know, the Just Cause guys.
They also did Mad Max.
Yeah, so that's like,
that was a great game. That was sleeper hit of 2016.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. I was one of the guys playing Metal Gear Solid at the time, but I appreciated Mad Max for what it was when I got around to it.
I've been meaning to go back and buy it from like G2A. It's like $7 and just get it on Steam and just play through that again, because it was, I think I only played through it one time. It was fucking great. Anyway, continue.
There was something. So I mean, this is obviously hearsay, but we talked about this a little bit, and I just want to, you know, get, even though we don't really have news, I just want to kind of get your mind on this, just to see where you're at. I've heard 2 rumors about Rocksteady this week.
Oh boy.
One that they are basically at death's door, and 2 that they are about to desperately pitch a new single player game. And I'm just like, what the hell happened, man? Like, we talked about what happened, but it's just, I've never, like, the fall was just so quick. Like, all the things happening. They
sunk $200 million into Suicide Squad, and it fell on its face because they.
Well, I mean, we talked about it. We talked about exactly what it were, you know, the trends it chased, the everything. It's, if Suicide Squad is not like a huge, big, like, don't chase trends, don't talk to consulting companies, don't do all this weird bullshit. Like, I don't know, like, how many of those does the industry need before, like, people catch on, or at least wean off this shit a little? Because it's literally,
people's
you
wallets.
had like you chased, you know, the looter shooter. You pivoted from loot boxes. I don't even know exactly what the unlock system is anymore. You hired the consultation company. There's all this bullshit in there about, like, you know, all the different, you know, woke quote unquote shit it's just peppered across the game. Visual assets and script bits. On the level of script, you have, like, the story, which is just crap. like the attention, like there's so many small things that piss me off. I would go nuts on a rambling rant, but there's the amount of respect they did not have for these characters if this is all that's left of them, because I heard rumors like the whole bit of like the 20 or so seasons they had planned was, it was supposed to be who you really killed were clones, and you got to rescue the real Justice League from Brainiac. Like I heard that was the rumor. And I don't know
if cop out.
No fucking idea if we're ever going to get that, regardless of whether it's true or not, because of, you know, I messaged you saying they went from weekly updates to monthly updates. That's not a good sign for the game. But having watched it, because I'm not fucking paying for it, and I think I could only stomach it if I was playing with other people that also got it for free, so that's going to be a hot second. But like the story, it's like there's a certain... If you look at the Batman Arkham games, especially the first one, you can kind of see like a love and a reverence for the source material. Where like these guys liked the comics. There's little lore bits, there's character bios, there's so much shit you can dig into if you liked any part of the mythos, or if you were wanting to learn more of the mythos. It was really in there. And then flash forward all the way to Suicide Squad, and it's just like there's a lot of moments like this where they don't respect the character or the lore, but there's just one thing that sticks out to me. The Suicide Squad kills Green Lantern, right?
Right.
Dan, what happens when a Green Lantern dies? You should know this.
The ring fucking flies off and finds somebody else.
What do you think didn't happen when Green Lantern died? The ring did. Now you might say it's a small thing, like whatever. If he just sat there,
that's not
and
a small thing. That's like a major tenet of the Green Lantern Corps.
But here's the thing: they go a step further. They one of the weird running themes is like Captain Boomerang he accidentally cuts off the Flash's finger, so he makes a habit of cutting off the finger of whatever Justice League member they kill. So he cuts off the finger of the Green Lantern, and the ring still doesn't go anywhere, and King Shark is able to use the ring for like this dramatic, massive scene, and I'm just like, the ring, you just have
no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I'm just like, it seems small and it seems right. Like, I'm not a huge Green Lantern guy, but I understand that part of the mythos, right? And I'm just like, if these guys at the core and the consulting base, because once again, they hired one of these batshit insane consulting companies to work on this. If you look at the credits, like, you can find a whole list of names that you can find arguing about some shit on Twitter. If all of these people got paid ridiculous amounts and they didn't catch that, it's like, this team was not making the right game, like from the ground up. Everything that we've talked about up to this point, like all the different episodes where we talk about how Suicide Squad is just like, there's one segment we did in one episode of the podcast where it's like Suicide Squad is exactly what's wrong, every wrong part of the industry coming together and culminating in the Suicide Squad, chasing trends, delays, losing talent bleed because you were just hemorrhaging people in the middle of development, getting people who don't know or care to write, getting people who hate the medium to double check them. It's like, I'm just like, I don't know, like I want Rocksteady to die. Just mercy kill it. And that I hope to God that it happens, because even like people would say like, oh, Anthony, but they made these games. No, the people that made those games, like they're not there anymore. They're off, and apparently the new team that a lot of the Rocksteady guys left, they formed their own team. They're about to sign a deal with Xbox, or they signed a deal with Xbox. I think we talked about that last time. So it's just like, I don't care about this group of people that did not make the things that I like, that do not like the medium they're working, that do not like the things that I want, that aren't up to the task. Like, there's rumors going around that it's like, oh, well, the team's good, but they just didn't want to make a multiplayer game. It's like, that's your fucking job. I understand the project sucks, right? If you're put in front of something that you shouldn't be making and you follow all these weird corporate...
Rocksteady pitched the Suicide Squad game to Warner Bros. Like, that was... allegedly, that was their idea.
So that I've heard too, but there's also a lot of other shenanigans going on. And also, I'm pretty sure when they pitched the Suicide Squad game, they didn't necessarily want to make like a live service game.
Oh, okay. Well,
aside from all this, I understand that shit happens. We talk a lot about corporate decisions and how they're all bullshit, and AAA has a lot of bullshit that just gets in your way. You still have a job to do. I understand it's fucking miserable, but it's like... What's my takeaway? That is just like, okay, so we had people who don't want to make the game, and they were checked by people who hate games and just regular reality, And it's like, how did you end up with this disastrous thing? So I just, I heard a rumor that Rocksteady wants to make a new game. I also heard that they're going to get the axe. They should just get the axe. The people that made Rocksteady aren't there anymore. Who gives a shit? And and the reason I rant specifically about this is like, because obviously we like the Batman Arkham games, but this kind of story where you have shitty corporate decisions given to people who are wearing the skin of like a renowned developer, and in their hands is like legacy IPs, are making these games with these consulting companies filled with people who hate people like you and me, who hate gamers, who hate the gaming medium, and that's how the games are put out. That's happening all across the industry. Like, yeah. I'm not highlighting this
until something changes.
Hopefully, because this is just getting ridiculous. Like I'm and because you tell me to keep it positive, and you know me, I'm a positive guy. This is not forever. But I just, like, every day I see more bad news, like some, neo-pronoun kind of guy on Twitter bragging about how he gets jobs with the things that you like and how he's going to ruin them and write them his way. And it's like, we're going to look back at this period of history and it's just going to be like a dark stain on creative intent. And it's like, how do we, like, I don't want to be here any longer than I have to be. It's like, it's going to be hard enough to look back and say like, oh, for various reasons, it's like they ruined Dead Rising. They tried to ruin Resident Evil. They ruined the Batman Arkham games and all the DC Universe games. They ruined Guilty Gear. They ruined, the long-running games like Final Fantasy XIV now have like these spots in the story that are just ruined by cultural vandals. You have all these random weird games made by people who don't like games that are just out in the ether, and like those terrible ideas will just always be there, and like we'll be explaining to like a new generation of gamers in like 25 years. We'll be like, they'll see these like weird oddities and just destroyed legacies, and they'll ask, what the hell happened? And I'm just what am I going to say to them? It's like, oh, well, we just gave the reins to people who hate us. I don't know. Like,
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm even going with this, because it's more emotional than logical. There's no news grounding it.
Circles.
Yeah, I'm just like, because it's just when I'm done describing one issue, I turn around and there's like the other 50. It's whatever. Let Rocksteady die. Just another name on the fucking pile in this fucking bizarre war we find ourselves in. It's just, I'm done.
Oh boy. Well, unless you got anything else, I think it's about as good a spot as any to wrap.
Yeah. It's hopefully next week we'll have a lot more
This is like
about.
the third episode in a row or something that we've ended it after a long Anthony rant.
I just like, my mind's a little scattered just because like the aspect, like I think back to playing the Batman Arkham Asylum demo over and over again, because I'm just like, oh my god, this is just great. This is so much fun. I can't wait for the game to come out. And I just flash forward and I just think of, like even as late as Arkham Knight, like the game wraps and you see like this picture of the developers and they're proud of what they did and they worked hard at this in this industry. And then I flash forward to a much larger bloated team with no familiar faces that were hired for very, very specific reasons. And in front of them is just, in my mind, I see that apology for how many delays the Suicide Squad got. And then I think about all these people at the consulting companies that just talk so much shit at these events. They stand on podiums and they're just like, oh, we need to make these changes. And it pisses me off. So that's how you end up with a rant.
Yeah, clearly.
But yeah, good times ahead. Just a matter of
good times. Yeah, future looks bright.
Future looks bright. It's just how much bullshit.
Blindingly bright. It burned my retinas out. There's just like multiple layers of curtains between us and that blinding light. We just need to keep digging. That are made of Kevlar.
Yeah.
Oh god. All right. Well, that was episode 11 of the Pregame Network.
Also,
sure we'll have much more interesting things to talk about next week.
Also, fuck you, Joe. If you're not gonna show up, that's fine. But you just tell us in advance you're not gonna make it. Don't tell me at like the 30-minute mark that you don't think you can make it. You knew beforehand you couldn't make it, you fucking jive turkey. You tell me beforehand. That's all I want.
Jive turkey.
That's all I want.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, bye.
Listen, bye. Have fun playing Destiny. I'm gonna play some Street Fighter and maybe some Callisto Protocol, Dan.
Did you stop the recording already?
Well, I'm gonna do that now.
Oh, okay. Well, you
bye.
You said have fun playing Destiny. I thought you ended it.
No. That was me. This is all gonna make it in, by the way. Just say goodbye
Cool.
again. Say
Cool.
again.
Goodbye.
Bye.